There is something about your morning coffee that most people never stop to think about. No, it is not a secret cure. It will not replace your medication, reverse a chronic disease, or somehow repair your body overnight. But one small change to the drink you already make every morning may help it taste better, make it easier to use less sugar, and turn an automatic habit into something a little more thoughtful. And the ingredient may already be sitting in your spice cabinet. One dried clove. That is it. It sounds almost too ordinary to matter, right? But before you drop a clove into your cup and expect a miracle, let us look at what coffee and clove may actually do, and what they definitely cannot do. If you are over 60 and your mornings often begin with sluggishness, digestive discomfort, stiffness, poor sleep, or an energy crash after breakfast, it is completely understandable to want one simple thing that fixes everything. Unfortunately, that is also where people get misled. No spice can tell you why you are dealing with persistent fatigue, recurring pain, unstable blood sugar, or chronic bloating. Those symptoms deserve proper attention. Still, your daily coffee matters. After all, it is something you may drink hundreds of times every year. And coffee is much more than caffeine with a nice smell. It naturally contains chlorogenic acids, caffeine, trigonelline, melanoidins, and other compounds that are created or changed during roasting. Researchers are still studying how these substances may interact with metabolism, the liver, the cardiovascular system, and the brain. Does that make coffee medicine? No. It simply means there is more going on inside your cup than most people realize. Clove is interesting for the same reason. Much of its warm, unmistakable aroma comes from eugenol, a plant compound that has been studied for antioxidant, antimicrobial, and anti-inflammatory properties in laboratory experiments. But here's the part that often gets lost online. Seeing an effect in a test tube is not the same as proving that 3 cloves in coffee will treat inflammation inside a human body. Those are two very different things. So where is the real value? Flavor. Clove has a warm, slightly sweet aroma. Used carefully, it can make black coffee taste smoother, richer, and more aromatic. And for some people, that may make it easier to drink coffee with less syrup, less whipped cream, and less added sugar. Not magic, just a useful swap. Before I show you how to make it though, we need to talk about what many people are actually drinking every morning. Plain coffee may contain very few calories, but a large flavored coffee can come with sugar, cream, syrup, toppings, and enough calories to look more like dessert in a paper cup. And no, the problem is not that one splash of milk instantly destroys every useful compound in coffee. The science is much more complicated than that. The real issue is how easily a simple drink can become a major daily source of added sugar and calories without you noticing. One pump of syrup becomes 3. A small splash of cream somehow becomes half a cup. And suddenly your morning coffee is basically cake with a lid. Then coffee gets blamed, even though the real problem is everything that was added to it. So what might you actually notice if you prepare a simpler cup with a small amount of clove? In the first 15 minutes, the biggest difference will probably be the taste and aroma. The smell is warmer. The bitterness may feel less sharp. The coffee may seem richer even though you have not added sugar or flavored creamer. You may also feel more alert as the caffeine begins to work. But let us be clear. Clove does not cancel caffeine-related anxiety. If coffee normally makes your hands shake, raises your heart rate, or creates tightness in your chest, adding a spice is not a reliable fix. A smaller serving may help. So might a weaker brew, half-caffeinated coffee, or decaf. Within one day, the biggest change may have less to do with chemistry and more to do with your routine. You have interrupted the autopilot. Instead of pouring coffee, adding sugar without measuring it, and drinking it while barely paying attention, you have made the cup deliberately. That tiny pause can help you notice how much coffee you drink, what you add to it, and how your body reacts afterward. Some people find that hot drinks stimulate bowel activity. Others get heartburn, urgency, or stomach irritation. There is no universal response, and clove does not guarantee better digestion. Within several days, you may discover something more useful than any miracle promise. Whether this version of coffee actually works for you. Do you enjoy it without sugar? Does it irritate your stomach? Does it make you feel jittery? Do you feel better when you drink it later in the morning? Does switching to half-calf help you sleep? These are simple questions, but they matter. They are far more useful than forcing yourself to follow a viral recipe that was never designed around your body in the first place. And this is where the idea becomes genuinely interesting. Before we continue, take a second to subscribe and like the video if you appreciate health information without exaggerated promises. The goal here is not to sell you a miracle. It is to help you tell the difference between a useful habit and a convincing story. Now, let us keep going. Within 1 week, the change you are most likely to notice may come from what you removed, not what you added. If clove helps you enjoy coffee with less sugar, you may eat less added sugar over the course of the week. If preparing the drink more deliberately encourages you to have one measured cup instead of constantly refilling a giant mug, you may also reduce your total caffeine intake. And if you move your coffee earlier in the day, it may interfere less with your sleep. None of these changes sounds dramatic, but small things done every day have a habit of becoming big things. Within 1 month, the benefit is not that your liver has been detoxed. Your liver already handles the body's detoxification work. A cup of spiced coffee does not rinse toxins out of it like someone cleaning a filter. The more realistic benefit is that a simpler coffee habit may become part of a better overall routine. Less added sugar, fewer oversized specialty drinks, more awareness of caffeine, and more consistent morning choices. Research has found links between regular coffee consumption and certain favorable health outcomes, including some liver-related outcomes. But a link is not the same as a personal treatment plan, and adding cloves has not been proven to boost those effects. Within 3 months, any real transformation will come from the habits around the cup. Maybe you now use less sugar. Maybe you stop drinking caffeine late in the afternoon. Maybe you replaced a 500-calorie cafe drink with something much simpler. Maybe you discovered that decaf works better for your blood pressure, reflux, sleep, or anxiety. Or maybe you learned that coffee simply does not agree with you. That is still valuable information. Now let us get practical. This is not a medical protocol. It is not a detox formula. It is simply one way to flavor coffee with clove. Step 1. Start with 1 whole, dried clove. Clove is strong, so more does not automatically mean better or healthier. Step 2. Lightly crush it with a mortar or the flat side of a knife. This helps release more aroma than dropping it into the cup completely whole. Step 3. Place the crushed clove with your ground coffee before brewing. You can use a drip brewer, a pour-over, or a French press. Step 4. Brew the coffee as usual. Step 5. Strain it carefully and taste it before adding anything else. If the flavor is too strong, use less clove next time. If the coffee is too bitter, adjust the coffee-to-water ratio instead of immediately burying the taste under syrup. 1 cup is enough to test the idea. There is also a quicker method. Brew your coffee first. Lightly crush 1 clove, place it in the hot drink, and let it steep briefly. Then remove it before drinking. This may give you a lighter aroma, but there is no scientific basis for saying it provides some exact percentage of a full effect. You are flavoring a drink, not measuring out medication. Now, 3 common mistakes can turn a harmless experiment into bad health advice. Mistake 1. Assuming that natural means therapeutic. Clove is a food ingredient. That does not mean a few cloves can treat diabetes, arthritis, fatty liver disease, chronic fatigue, or cognitive decline. Mistake 2. Using more because you assume more must work better. Clove has a powerful flavor, and concentrated clove products are very different from the small culinary amount used in food. Do not add clove essential oil to coffee. Essential oils can be highly concentrated and may be unsafe when swallowed improperly. Mistake 3. Using the drink as a reason to ignore ongoing symptoms. Morning stiffness, persistent fatigue, unexplained weight changes, recurring abdominal discomfort, excessive thirst, or unusual blood sugar readings should not be managed with an internet recipe. Those symptoms should be discussed with a qualified healthcare professional. There is also an important safety note. If you take anticoagulant or antiplatelet medication, have a bleeding disorder, are preparing for surgery, or use concentrated clove or eugenol products, speak with your clinician or pharmacist. If coffee makes your reflux, palpitations, anxiety, tremor, sleep, urinary urgency, or blood pressure worse, clove is unlikely to solve the problem caused by caffeine. And if you have diabetes, do not assume caffeinated coffee will lower your glucose. Caffeine can affect glucose responses differently from one person to another. For many healthy adults, a small culinary amount of clove in coffee will simply be a flavor choice. And honestly, that is enough. Not every useful habit has to be a miracle. Think about it. One clove, one cup, one chance to look more closely at a routine you may have repeated for decades without giving it much thought. The real change is not instant healing, it is awareness. Within 15 minutes, a different flavor. Within 1 week, perhaps less sugar. Within 1 month, a more deliberate morning routine. Within 3 months, a habit that better matches the way your own body responds. You are not broken, and your coffee is not a cure, but your routine can still be improved. Start with 1 lightly crushed clove, 1 normally brewed cup, and no expectation of magic. Taste it. Pay attention to how you feel. Then adjust what actually needs adjusting. And if you know someone over 60 who drinks coffee every morning and is tired of health claims that sound too good to be true, share this video with them. Sometimes the most useful thing you can give someone is not another miracle. It is a more honest explanation.